America in 2026 is a very weird landscape for video games, especially if we're talking about the PlayStation 5, digital or disc edition. They both now cost way over what they used to. One of them even costing $900, not including the stand, I don't think. But basically, it's $900 base, and then whatever extra goodies, it's very, very pricey. And it's not just PlayStation players paying the price, it's everyone involved in the video game space, whether you're a player, a developer, or someone who's working on a game. Heck, even if you're a CEO, this affects you pretty severely. I'm pretty sure Xbox is pretty upset looking at what PlayStation's doing because it means they have to do something now. At least for the other companies, that's what that means. PlayStation's own economy is rude to its customers. Basically, if you buy anything, it's got DRM checks on it now. It's like a 15 to 30-day check-in. If you don't meet that threshold, you basically don't have access to your game until you get on, like, log your PlayStation into the online service again, which is stupid. So if you don't get what I'm saying, here's a little story, I guess. You sit down on your couch, you press your controller button to get your PlayStation online. You hear the little beep goes on, and then all of a sudden you want to play, I don't know, Batman Arkham Knights. Say you purchased that recently. Then you go to play it, and it says, "Oh, you don't have access because you need to log in." But usually you run your PlayStation offline because you don't want to be interrupted with updates. You just have basically a game that you play offline. You're not really interested in online, but now you have this prompt that says, "Hey, you need to connect to online before you can play this." To some people, it's not a big deal. Other people, they're like, what if I don't have the internet? It's not a great situation. It's mostly a third world country kind of situation, but I still see it here in the States. Some people don't have internet access because they don't want to pay that much for the service. So it's very understandable, to be honest, in this economy. And usually it goes up to like $100 to $200 per service, depending on what speed you want. But the main problem is this DRM issue or dilemma. It's really stupid because it just really means you don't have full access to your games that you purchased, and you should have full access after purchase. And it just proves that quote, I kind of hate the quote because everyone uses it. It's like you will own nothing and be happy. So yeah, it's just like ridiculous. Shouldn't have to open online just to access a game you already paid for. It's very dumb. So here's the reason why it affects like Xbox players and Steam players and Nintendo players as well. It's because the other companies can see that the trend is working and then start to make their product the same way. Like imagine if you got on Steam and you wanted to boot up something in offline mode, and then all of a sudden you got a prompt that said, "Hey, you can't play Fallout New Vegas until you connect to online." And that's never happened to me unless it's like an online game, like say I guess Fragpunk or something. I would have to connect because it's a multiplayer game. But like you could play on Steam in offline mode, which means you're not synced to the cloud, like your save isn't synced, and it won't save until you sync to the cloud, but you can play the game just fine. You could actually even put the save file in a different folder in your computer if you wanted to do that. You don't have to keep connected online to play a Steam game. So I like that. I would like that technology to stick around more rather than the DRM stuff. Even though these games are basically just licenses, and they're not physical copies and they're not digital codes. GOG has more of a reputation of giving you DRM free games. Once you buy it, it's yours. You just download it and it's in your computer. And that's really cool, I think. You could even combine that with a Steam Deck, which lets you operate any OS you want, which is an operating system. And you can put games from GOG onto your Steam Deck, and then they're on your Steam Deck forever, unless your Steam Deck dies or crashes or something. So, yeah, that's why it's worrying to me is because only a few websites and a few gaming companies actually offer DRM free experiences. And even though Steam isn't DRM free, you can still play offline like the game is yours. And if you're offline for a long period of time, right, and they decide to cancel the game or whatever, but you're playing offline, it's still available to you because you're not connected to the internet, so they can't take it away from you yet. You see how that works? You have the code of the game ready to play already downloaded on your computer, and I don't know why PlayStation hasn't taken a page out of those guys' strategy, GOG or Steam. And I would just really hope that we get somewhere with that, with consoles and all that stuff, to where you're not just cloud gaming all the time and depending on a license or DRM to fix the game or even change the game in some cases, like Stellar Blade. They changed their game with the day one patch, and unless you have the disc, you don't have the day one before the day one fix. So I own the disc on PS5, so I have the uncensored version if I ever want to play that or make a ROM out of it. So yeah, I don't know. PS5 is not good. Been going wild.